What was your most humiliating hookup experience? I believe the exact quote she used was, "I really thought what you lacked in looks you would make up for in neck, but I guess not." That one still hits pretty hard and effectively killed my interest in trying to talk to women again. Edit. Thank you to everyone for the kind words. I know she doesn't speak for all women, because there are a ton of amazing women out there, but it does make me very scared to return to dating until I put some more work into myself. Kind of like, if a dog bites you, you know most dogs are sweet and amazing, but you're still scared. I met up with a girl via Tinder. We sort of knew each other and had talked a little. Anyways, the date is going good. We have good chemistry. She is funny, etc. We end the date and walk outside. I follow her until we are going to be separated by a crossroad. We start kissing and she suddenly stops. But I have a boyfriend. Had this happen to me once too. She fessed up before we got as far as kissing, but her boyfriend later turned out to be a pretty scary dude. Once I knew who he was. Had to pay child support payments to multiple women and the dude was in and out of prison. In the end I felt pretty sorry for her, and I totally understand why she wanted a new boyfriend. My first kiss. I stopped the car in front of her house, leaned over to kiss her. I realize the car is moving, and we slam into the back of her dad's truck and her head hits the dash hard. She had to get stitches, and I got it bad from her dad. Shoulda parked. I'll be vague. Dating a girl. Doing stuff in my car in an empty parking lot. She wants to try something she's never tried. I'm down. She ends up puking. I see the puke and it makes me puke. Big ol' puke fest to end the night. Edit. Throwing up did not occur in my car. She opened her door. I saw it and opened up my door and began to vomit. For about a year I was a two-pump chump out of nowhere. No matter what I did I couldn't hold back my urge to orgasm. I was permanently locked in the Vinegar strokes mode. Before this, and eventually after, I had no problem lasting and or holding back my orgasms. But when I entered a relationship with this new girl it started. Our first time sleeping together I only lasted 3 to 4 thrusts. The words out of my mouth were, "I swear that never happens." I was so embarrassed, and she was done. God bless her, she gave me 3 weeks of her life before she dumped me. We remained good friends and I asked her why she broke up with me. It was because I came too fast. This went on for about 11 more months after her, whenever I slept with someone. Then, randomly, as if the curse had been lifted, I was back to my normal self. To this day I have no idea why I was so sensitive for that long and that randomly. My ex also gave me another shot at redeeming myself. I was on a date. We started kissing. It got hot, so we went in my car. We were making out, and I start to grab her tits when she starts crying, like bawling crying. I stopped and pulled away, and she stops crying and says, "Why'd you stop?" and puts my hand back on her tit and tries to start kissing me. Sure enough, after a few more kisses she starts crying again. I ask her what is wrong. She says nothing. So I stopped right there and ended the date. Never saw her again after that. I have PTSD and had a flashback while going down on a woman. It got so bad that I had to stop and run to her bathroom to throw up. Then I got back to her bed and just sobbed in her arms a bit before putting my clothes back on and calling an Uber home in defeat. I wanted the earth to swallow me. Definitely a night where I had a pretty girl wrapped around my finger and I couldn't last. I met her at a bar out with some friends and we hit it off. One night out of the blue she texted me and asked to come hang out, so I obliged. I prepped my roommates, cleaned myself up, and she came over a few hours later. We flirted a bunch until I went in for a kiss and she responded. We went right to my room. We flirted and talked a lot before getting things moving. As soon as I was inside, I was so turned on by how forward she was that I couldn't last. I tried pulling out a few times to gain momentum, but it never worked. After about an hour or so of talking afterward, she passed on staying over and walked home. In the rain. We see each other somewhat frequently anymore, and it's nice and cordial, but we've never gotten that close ever again. Mine happened just a few days ago. I matched with this girl on Tinder and go over to her place to hook up. To ease the nerves she decides to smoke some weed. No biggie except I've all but quit smoking. I decided to hit it once or twice before I hit it once or twice lol. Only to find out that A, I don't have a tolerance and got super high, and B, I could not get hard to save my life. She was a champ though. Once we got started I realized what was happening and told her. She looked me dead in the eyes and said challenge accepted. This girl and I were messaging back and forth, and it was clear we were gonna smash. She decided she wanted it right that second and drove over. I was living in the barracks at the time, so I go out to her car to do it there. She starts giving me head, and about 15 seconds in, I'm about to come. So I don't want to bust yet, so I kind of pull her off. Then she throws the condom on and hops on top of me. I end up busting about 10 seconds into that, and I go soft. I quickly pull my pants up and head back to the barracks with the condom still on, with the look of defeat on my face. Definitely should have knocked out that easy one. Met a girl on Tinder, and we didn't really hit it off on the first date, but it also wasn't awful. She asked if she could come over to meet my pets. I said sure, but I had to be up early for work, so it would just be a little bit. She immediately starts chugging beers from her purse once she gets into my room, and taking huge hits off a wax pen. I'm not opposed to either of these things. It just came out of nowhere, and I wasn't even sure why she was in my room. Then started to remove her clothing and lay in my bed. I ask her to leave, and she pretends not to hear me. I fall asleep on the ground, and around 2 AM she wakes me up and asks if I can give her a ride home or call an Uber. I call an Uber for her and go back to bed. Right as I'm falling asleep I'm woken back up by her climbing on top of me, naked, trying to cuddle with me. I roll off the bed under her and just stand in the doorway until she follows me out to the car, where I drive her home in silence. The next day I'm on Twitter, and she is posting about how she had a date the previous night, where a dude kept badgering her for sex when she was saying no. It was time-stamped just after I dropped her off. Okay. I once dated a girl I met on OkCupid, and, well, between the time her profile picture was taken and our date, she put on about 50 pounds. I mean, I didn't mind really, since she still looked hot, but it was not what I expected. She should have just been honest about it. I basically felt cheated. This is also one of the reasons why I avoid online dating. So, I was running a painting business at the time. Every day I'd be driving from site to site making sure my painters are fine and have everything they need, then go door to door in the evenings and generate leads. This one evening, I was in the middle of a suburb cul-de-sac with no bathrooms nearby, and I needed to pee bad. I pulled a classic and peed in a 2L pop bottle I had kicking around. I didn't miss a drop. The next day I organized to take the day off so I could hang with this girl from a neighboring city. We'd been chatting on Tinder for a few months and hit it off super well. She drove 2 hours to come see me, and we had a great time at my place. I made her dinner, followed by Netflix and Smash. The next morning we decided to go play golf, and were standing on my driveway wondering who should drive. I instantly remember I had Est in my hot van just recently, and the bottle was still in there. Well, lo and behold, she didn't want it to drive, so we hopped in my van. That bitch was a sauna of S. Warm and full of ammonia. No one said a thing, but she definitely smelt it. I had chronic sinusitis, and I smelt it. Safe to say we didn't see each other again. So I was living in an apartment with a friend who was sleeping next door. We have pretty thick walls, so usually he doesn't hear anything. And even if sounds would go through, he is a guy that literally slept through a fire alarm. He never wakes up from sounds basically. So I was getting it on with this girl, and I must have been doing something right because she was not moaning. She was moaning. She was being so damn loud I even stopped and looked at her like, what the yuck are you screaming for? So my friend who slept through a fire alarm, yeah, he didn't sleep through this one. XD. In college I sat next to this girl in one of my classes. I'll call her A. We weren't super close friends, but got to know each other decently well. One night out I ran into A and her friends. One of A's friends, I'll call her B, found me attractive. We hit it off and end up going home together. I was inexperienced and nervous at the time, plus I was drunk, so my egg was limp as can be. Obviously nothing happened that night, and B left the first thing next morning disappointed. Back in class the next week, A asked me, so how did things go with B? She told me she went home with you Saturday night, so she 100% knew everything. She was chill about it all and never brought it up again, but it was still kind of embarrassing. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you would like to see more, feel free to subscribe.